What was the first thing that you saw that made you realize that there's something going on here that defies conventional wisdom or conventional understanding of propulsion systems?
I think for me, one of the most compelling moments was when I attended, let me go back into memory banks. I attended a dinner with some individuals who were already associated with the larger umbrella program called OSAP. And I attended dinner at a Washington, D.C. hotel, and a Brazilian general attended this dinner. And the dinner was sponsored by a gentleman named Robert Bigelow, the famous billionaire hotelier.
Yeah, I've met him.
Yeah.
I had him on the podcast.
Yeah, and by the way, he's an American hero. He's a patriot. He's funded
Brilliant
a lot.
guy.
He is brilliant, and people don't realize that he self-funded a lot of this stuff on behalf of the U.S. government by himself. Like he paid it to do it himself. He really is an American patriot in my opinion. But anyways, he flew in this guy named General Uchoa. General Uchoa was a Brazilian general, very, very senior in the Brazilian government, who led an investigation about an event that occurred over several days.
Is this the Varginha incident?
No, it's actually called Colares.
Another one.
In Brazil, yeah. And the Colares incident. And they had an overwhelming number of eyewitnesses, and there was even some video and photographs that they had produced internally there to Brazil. And it was overwhelming, the evidence. And for me, it was more listening to him and explain the concern they had and some of the interactions the Brazilian government officials had with these UAP that really I left there that dinner scratching my head and really at that point beginning to absorb the profoundness that we're dealing with something that is real. This is not a cover plan for some other technology we're trying to protect.
Did he show you this video evidence?
So I was sitting at the kind of like a table like this. There was a whole lot of people at the table. He was sitting at the head. I was kind of way down over here, and he brought a manila envelope and he was showing photographs to everybody, right? And some reporting as well. I think he brought, if I recall correctly, his daughter to translate, because I don't think English was his very good. It wasn't his language. But for me, that was, and I think for one of my colleagues too, which I probably can't say his name right now because he hasn't come out publicly yet, but we both left that dinner, I think, scratching our heads and saying, wow, this is legit. This is real. The U.S. government is interested in this, and there is interest by our government. As after that dinner, attending more meetings and beginning to read the reports, the field reports, and speaking to the scientists, it became evident to me that this was a very serious issue. We had near misses over some of our areas of operation. In some cases, literally these UAP splitting a combat formation. Now, if you know how planes fly, they fly very close in a combat situation. These things were splitting the formation, right? That there were reports being provided through the Air Force, mostly through the Navy, about air safety issues. Where pilots literally could run into these things, right? They were pervasive. It wasn't like a onesie and twosie.
Was there ever an incident where a pilot or a jet did run into something?
Not that I'm aware of. What I can tell you that there has been incidents where there appears to be some sort of provocation, where one of these things seems to be coming deliberately close to an aircraft, not necessarily trying to hit it, but maybe trying to demonstrate performance capabilities. There was one video in particular. I haven't been cleared by the Pentagon, so let me see if I can speak about it in general terms. There's a pilot flying, and you can hear on the radio this chatter back and forth. Do you see it? Do you have eyes down on it? Pilot, nope, negative, no eyes down. Okay, you should have it on radar. Yeah, I got something on radar, but no eyes, I can't see it. And then all of a sudden, a craft, an object goes whizzing right by the cockpit, and I mean probably like 15 feet away, and you can hear the pilot, the expletives of the pilot. I won't say it here on air, but you can imagine, right, what a pilot would say when they're very, very surprised. That was one. There's
Can you describe what he saw?
I think I can. I want to be careful that I don't, because again, I haven't had what I have approval to talk about. I've spoken about. let me preface this by saying I still have my security clearance, and on occasion I still will consult for the U.S. government, and so I want to be very mindful. I have no problem going up all the way to the line.
Right, understood.
But if I put up, a pinky toe over that line, they're
Right.
they're
Of
going to
course.
get me. But it was a wedge-shaped craft.
Wedge-shaped.
Wedge-shaped, like triangular, but yeah, like a wedge. Like I don't know how else to describe it. I could draw it for you if you want. You want me to draw it? for
Sure,
you?
you can.
Yeah. So give me a second.
So just like a wedge that you would like split wood with, like that kind of a wedge?
Yeah, but it was silver metallic, and like a diamond maybe. That's a better way to describe it. Like a diamond almost. And it looked kind of like that. Really, it's
Okay.
just a little.
And that kind of shape is something that's been reported multiple times.
So that was the first time I ever saw something like that. To me, it was. Keep in mind, I never followed this topic, so every time I'm seeing one of these videos, I'm kind of seeing something for the very first time. So lenticular, whether it's a disc-shaped craft, or it's a wedge-shaped craft, or a diamond-shaped craft, or a triangle-shaped craft, or boomerang in some cases, these were all new to me. So it was very, very perplexing, and obviously to our military pilots, it was very concerning. And I think when you look at some of the gold standard cases we had, like the Nimitz, for example, that case. You have this overwhelming number of sensors looking at the same thing going on that the pilots are reporting. And for me, that was most compelling. Like I said, more than eyewitness testimony is important, but at the end of the day, grandma seeing some lights in her backyard doesn't really do it for me. I'm a fact-oriented kind of guy. I've got to see the data. Let the data provide us the information we need so then we can make a conclusion, right? I'm not, if you start seeing UFOs in the sky everywhere, well, chances are they're probably not. It's a quadcopter, it's a balloon, it's an aircraft, it could be all sorts of things. That's why I think from our perspective, having the fundamental categories, the observables we call them, was so important because they are so beyond what a normal aircraft, a traditional, conventional aircraft can do. At that point, you realize you're dealing with some sort of beyond next generation technology, and that's when it gets compelling for guys like me, right?
Right.
When you're seeing performance capabilities that far surpass anything we have, and I'm talking even the very, very best technology we have, we don't come close to that.
And no visible means of propulsion.
No, or obvious signs of lift. Right? And not even a cockpit. You have to scratch your head and see what's going on. Interestingly, I'll share
no windows.
No windows. Well, in some cases, no windows. Other cases, people will report what they think are windows. They say, "Oh, I saw windows," but at the end of the day, we're looking at that in terms of what we think a window is. Right? So
Right.
You see a car, you see windows. Oh, or a plane, those are windows.